What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the all-new Ford Bronco Raptor edition. Big shout out and thank you to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this Raptor Bronco for today's video. Check out their website, link down below. And the model that we're looking at today is finished off in Oxford white and has a base starting price around $76,000. Underneath the hood of the all-new Ford Bronco Raptor, you're going to find the new 3-liter twin turbocharged EcoBoost V6 engine. This 6-cylinder is pumping out 418 horsepower with 440 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, features a 4-wheel drive transfer case with locking front and rear differentials. It also weighs in around 5,000 pounds and running on a 21.1 gallon fuel tank. You're looking at 15 miles per gallon in the city with 16 miles per gallon in the highway, and it can even tow 4,500 pounds. Overall length is 191 inches with a wheelbase at 116.1, height is 77.8, and width is 85.7 inches. The Bronco Raptor is also extremely capable off-road, featuring Fox shocks in all 4 corners with position-sensitive dampers and live valve internal bypass. It has 13 inches of travel up front with 14 inches travel in rear, and it also has ground clearance at 13.1 inches, can ford water up to 37 inches. Approach angle is 47.2 degrees with breakover at 30.8, and departure angle is 40.5 degrees. And then now moving to the styling with the all-new Bronco Raptor. This is an extremely aggressive, super bold off-road focused SUV. We get a lot of designs from the original Bronco, however you're going to see a lot of really cool Raptor accents. So we got these LED headlights that have a super cool circular look along with the turn signal integrated. We get Ford written out throughout the center just like we saw in the F-150. You get your forward-facing camera, the 3 amber lights right in the center of the grille, and it certainly has a bold appearance. We get a metal bumper up front as well that is modular, and then we have an LED rigid fog light. You can see all of your parking sensors in it, an active grille shutter in the center to allow cooling to the intercooler when needed. Then we have all this aluminum for the skid plate and lower portion of the bumper, and then we get those metal tow hooks. More skid plate goes down throughout the center, and it really does a great job protecting itself off-road and just looking insanely bold. You can see a spot for accessories on the front corner of the hood where you can tie the metal wire up to the windshield to prevent branches from hitting the car. But super good looking all around. We get that raised portion in back with the functional heat extraction vents along with the Raptor badge written out on it. Has a really muscular appearance. Then we have more vents in this front fender to really add to the Raptor vibe. And then the really noticeable part is these massive wheels and tires with even more massive fender flares. They stick out, it's like 8 inches or so. They are absolutely huge. Really doing a great job protecting the body with these 37 by 12.5 inch off-road tires. We also get a set of beadlock 17-inch wheels finished in a metallic gray. They have a really nice look. And then you can of course see that Fox suspension back there, and it really comes together nicely. As we make our way to the side profile, this still looks like the traditional 4-door Bronco, however it's just bigger and better. If we go to the side now, you can see the plastic color along the door handles, and then you get this really large rock rail with an integrated step in a nice black powder coating. It does have Raptor written out on it, and then coming up top you can see that plastic color for these mirrors. They kind of integrate from the windshield, and they have an LED turn signal on them. We also get an upgraded light in the front of the windshield, the plastic hardtop, and then all black around the windows. And then in back you even have this rubbery plastic material on the front side of the rear fender. Has a really good look to it, and you can just see how bold this looks, especially with those fender flares. They are massive. The rear ones stick out all the way to the rear end. Has a pretty sweet look. And then in back we get a set of LED taillights that have a really cool 3-dimensional look to them. They also have more of this plastic trim around them, matching those fenders. Then you have your trailer hitch and all the connections in the center, along with a side exit exhaust. All nicely tucked under, so you're not going to hit anything off-roading. We got that massive full-size spare tire with your backup camera right in the center, 3rd brake light above that, and then of course the grab handle on the left with your Raptor badge. Overall, the Raptor Bronco looks awesome. It really does stand out on the road and is a massive, massive SUV. So there's a good look at the exterior with the Bronco Raptor. This thing looks awesome in person and it is absolutely massive. I love just how aggressive this thing is. We have forward ski fob, you get Raptor on one side, then all your normal buttons. We do get remote start, so if I go ahead and double tap that button, not a bad rumble from the new EcoBoost motor. Has a pretty cool sound to it. Shutting it off, keeping the key fob in my pocket. All I have to do is grab the door handle. It will automatically unlock. We of course have the keypad, and then we can check out this interior. This Raptor features a very nice black leather interior, and you're gonna see some Alcantara all throughout with a little bit of orange accents. If we take a look at the door panel now, you can see some of this vinyl material along it with your armrest. You have a pretty good grab handle and release handle, lock and unlock, then a cargo net down below with that orange color. We get FOURR Performance written out on this door sill, and you can get a good idea of how large these steps are. We do get power controls for the seats, and I love the bolsters. They're nice mini bucket seats with the really cool smooth leather contrast stitching, and then all this perforated Alcantara with more of the smooth leather. Really sporty looking seats. You can see how they come up all the way. We get Raptor embossed into the Alcantara with all the color contrast stitching, and then we get some nice stitching along the steering wheel, your Raptor name, and then some dark colors. And then now inside the Raptor, keeping my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. Taking a look at the gauge cluster now, we get a full LCD digital display with your tach on the left with your gear, speedometer on the right, and some vitals up top. Throughout the center, you can see more information that is all controlled with the panel on the right side. So right now, I can go under the My View, and you can see a few more things that will come up, like trip information. You have all the Raptor status for the drive modes, things like that. We can go back out of there and see trip information. Going into Raptor information itself, you have all sorts of different statuses that you're going to be able to view. Super cool with all the depictions, gauges, things like that. And then if we continue back, you can see even more information. Navigation can pop up in here, settings, and everything else. We have the buttons down here for your suspension as well as the exhaust. If I just tap the suspension icon, you can see how it can go into the 3 different drive modes. And then exhaust, you have all sorts of different modes as well for that better sound. We also have on the left side some cruise control settings and volume. Then we have your steering icon. You can adjust how you'd like that to feel. We get a nice set of steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. They're like 4 or 5 inches back here, and they are metal. Really cool design. You have the stalk on the left side, no stalk over on the right side. Just a really nice steering wheel. On the left of the steering wheel, we have all of your headlight controls down below, along with the corner lights on the mirrors. You have some of this silver trim with one of your air vents and a grab handle. Then a pretty cool vinyl material running across the entire dashboard. Right in the center, we have different controls for sway bar disconnect, all the differential controls. We have this mode right here you can press. That'll do the trail turn assist. It'll lock a rear tire to turn extremely sharp. We have Bronco written out in red with more of the silver trim and some red accents. And then moving to the infotainment, you have this massive screen. We have audio that comes up. You also have your phone integration, all the navigation, as well as your apps, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, different settings, pretty much all the things you would expect in any modern Ford. You have a few features, and of course you can control this and scroll down and see all sorts of different information for off-road things and just normal stuff in general. You can toggle this and also just swipe like normal. If I go ahead and put the car into reverse, we get a backup camera on the left with a top down on the right, and you can toggle this and see a few different more screens. We have that front view camera, we also have the surround, so I like all the different ones you get. Going back into park, underneath that we have some controls for the camera, start stop feature, and audio controls, and then physical climate controls. We have a fan speed toggle that will also come up on the screen. Then you can see your heated seat controls, different air conditioning controls. You can easily turn it off, and then you have dual temperature. We have some storage down below for performance, and this even looks like a Bronco, how they've done these screws. We have a grab handle on the right side, your shifter with more stitching, and then more of this reddish orange color for your GOAT modes. You have your 4-wheel drive control. You have the one in the center as well for the 1-pedal driving. Then you can just toggle this left and right, and we get all sorts of information that will come up. So if we go into the far left mode now, into slippery, you can see a really cool depiction with the rain, the tow and haul mode. Raptor can tow more than a standard Bronco. We get the sport mode as well. It'll shift automatically. You can continue down from normal to the off-road settings now, Baja. I love just all these cool depictions. And then behind that, we have all of your window controls, mirror controls. Then Raptor's written out with some nice leather vinyl material. Pressing this opens up, and we have a pretty good amount of storage space all in center. And then of course we have our glove box on the right side with a pretty good amount of space. And then one last look at the interior. This thing looks so sweet in here. I love these sporty seats, the red accents, and it definitely seems like a nice upgrade from the standard Bronco. Up top on the plastic hardtop, we do get the soft covering to help it be just a tad bit quieter. You have extra auxiliaries if you're gonna add winches or extra lights to the truck. Then we have dome lights, and then your mirror, and then of course your sun visors. And then moving on to the rear seat space, if I grab the door handle and open it up, it's also worth mentioning all the doors in the roof are completely removable to give you that open top experience. And you can just see how large everything is here, from the fenders to the steps there. The seats are finished just like we saw up front with all the nice leather material and that super nice Alcantara. We got all of these right here to add extra things of storage. Then window controls down below with some USB ports. And then if you grab the handle back here, you can pull these seats down. You can also pull these headrests down, and the seats fold nice and flat to give you better access into the cargo area. So sitting in the back seat of the Bronco Raptor, it's a nice place to be. You really are nice and high up. You have a great view over even the driver and everything. A lot of glass. These seats, I believe you can recline by just grabbing that lever and pulling them back just a little bit. You get like an extra inch of recline. And then in the center, we have this very tiny spot that opens up. You can see a nice little armrest with 2 cup holders. So not bad back here at all. I have the driver's seat set at my height, 5'11". Honestly, I'm fitting here pretty good. Plenty of headroom, like I said. And of course, if you take the roof off and the doors off, you just have a really cool experience in this. Onto the cargo area now, you can just grab this handle back here. It'll unlock, and it has a gas strut to assist it. It's a massive door that opens up. And then from here, you'll just manually grab the glass, lift this up, and of course you have the gas struts. You have quite a lot of storage in here. It's nice and squared off, pretty flat on the left and right side, and I like how you get the body colored roll bar. No crazy amenities back here. We do have the storage for the top, and then under here, we do have a little bit of storage space under the floor, which is a nice little aspect. From here, you can just reach in and manually grab these. We can pull the headrest down and get those out of the way. And with the other one folded down, you can see just how much more storage space you're gonna get. It's a pretty practical SUV. So while it's a wild off-roader in the Raptor form, you still get a nice usable SUV with a pretty good amount of space. All right, so setting off in the Bronco Raptor in just normal mode, you can tell this thing is huge. You might hear some crazy wind noise up there. It's that roof light, so it's kind of whistling up there. Aside from that, you get the same basic kind of noise that you're gonna get in a Bronco. Not the most refined vehicle, but you are up high. You can see that hood. Like, this is such a sweet vehicle to be in. Those fender flares in back, I can see them in the mirrors. It really just feels like something pretty special. If I go ahead and go into sport mode and manual mode, this thing makes some noise, and you can hear the turbo. When I let off, I can hear that blow off flutter. Obviously not redlining it being a brand new car, but you can tell, man, if I were able to floor this thing, there is some power and pep to its step. It is sweet. And in the sport mode, you know, we can put that exhaust up into Baja mode. We have the steering tightly, of course, and the suspension. I mean, this is pretty cool. It feels fun on road where you can throw it around. It's got plenty of power to get up and go. Visibility is what you would expect out of any Bronco. You just get the addition of seeing the cool hood and those fenders. But over your right and left shoulder, I mean, really roomy interior. It's honestly a nice place to be. But I like just the power. Of course, short shifting and barely touching the gas. I mean, you can tell there is some power hitting those bumps on that intersection. This thing would be a beast off-road. I've taken the normal Broncos off-road with Sasquatch packages, and those things are so good. And then with this one, I mean, you can just tell there is so much more that it can do. Those cameras work great. This thing really is a blast. Oh, this is an SUV to get. There is so much fun factor to it, even on the street. You can tell that this is fun when you're hitting just bumps on the road, driving it like a sports car, honestly, and then off-roading, it's gonna be even more fun. But this thing so far is a blast. All right, so turning around to my perspective in the Bronco Raptor, it's a big truck. You can just feel how, you know, it's got some size to it, but it really is fun. It makes you smile when you're driving it because on-road capability, like the F-150 Raptor, I mean, you have that performance, you have the handling and steering. Obviously, it's still an off-road SUV. So it's not gonna be like a GT500, of course, but when you're in it, you can tell there's just some fun to it. There's power, there's pep, and the suspension ride's really good on road. So then getting back up to some speed, I wish this was, you know, broken into where we could really floor it. But even just like barely getting on it, you can just feel so much power. The roof light up front makes a lot of wind noise. You can probably hear the high-pitched whistle. But other than that, though, you know, that's what you'd expect from a Bronco, taking a sharp turn. It's fun on road. Like, this really is a car you can drive, or an SUV you can drive, and just have fun and rip it and just play with it. If we tone ourselves down into just the normal mode and back into drive, the car does tone down a little bit. Suspension is now softer, steering is softer, and it's not as peppy. You know, the throttle response is a little bit toned down. But I love what Ford did. The F-150 Raptor has been one of the best trucks you could ever buy. They've held value so well in today's market. They're worth crazy money. This thing is well over 6 figures in today's market, being technically a used vehicle. But I just love the extra things they've done. Those fender flares look kind of ridiculously large. I will say they look a little weird. However, when you think about it, you know, the Raptor's supposed to be just like stupid, funny, crazy. That's kind of what my thought is on a Raptor. It's supposed to be above and beyond and outlandish, and this certainly has that aspect. And then just in normal mode driving, the 10-speed is nice and smooth, gets up to speed well, and it really isn't anything too crazy to drive like normal. This would be just a great daily driver, family SUV. And I like the Broncos a lot. You know, I got to play with them in Texas doing the off-rodeo, and I like how this one just takes it up a notch a little bit, and I could see buying one of these. The normal Bronco was super cool, but not quite enough for me. This is something I would genuinely buy, and I know they're good off-road, and this one I can't imagine how much better it's gonna be. But this really is something cool and something special, and I think just like the F-150s, these are gonna hold their values and sell so well, because I think, I mean, I'm falling in love with this thing, and I think so many other people will. Unfortunately, that is it. Oh, I wish, you know, I could drive one that's broken in to where I could really rip on it and see what these things have to offer, but this truly is a beast. Like, this is honestly my kind of SUV. If I get an SUV, I think it's gonna be a Bronco Raptor, just because what can you not do in this thing? It is big, it is tall, but that's what makes it awesome. And unfortunately, we are now parking this back up front. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, stay tuned for plenty more content to come, and then big shout out and thank you once again to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this Bronco Raptor for today's video. They have more in stock and a ton of other nearly brand new cars, so check them out. So that is it, guys. I'll see you in the next video.